Hi everyone, this is Marlene with Dixie Quilters and welcome back. I've been off a couple of weeks over the holidays, big family wedding, and then of course everybody got a cold. So this is now 2 weeks later, and if I have a little gravelly voice, you'll know why. So today I'm determined to tackle and get back on my routine of working on my block of the months a little bit every month until we wind them up. So today, this is the one for today. It's called Park Plaza. Isn't that gorgeous? I am really getting close to the end on this. And then I've got a couple more I want to get started on. So you hang in and we'll talk about them as well. So this is the Park Plaza. I went back in my records and looked at when on earth was the last time I touched this thing. And it was back in November 28th. So yesterday in the evening, I prepared all the parts and pieces so that we could go ahead and get started on that today. I'd like to show you what I'm working on, but let's see. We just block that out. So it comes in, each page is a step-by-step process. Starting, and it's a 4-color printed pattern, so it's quite easy to follow. It's not full color, but it's 4-color. And it has all the details on how to go about doing these things. But it's quite complicated on cutting instructions for each step. So we are now on step 5 of step 6 of 6 possibles. So this is, we're closing in. I think by the end of January, this thing will be going to the long armor. And no, I didn't get a long arm under the tree. That was a pipe dream, I guess, huh? Okay, Park Plaza, step 5. It required that we had 8 3-inch strips with the fabric in the fabric A, the white fabric. And then on fabric K, we needed 8 strips of 3 inches and 4 strips of 3.5 inches. Well, I can't go into detail on what we do with those strips, but I can show you that this is what I'm working on today. And so when you get these things, you cut them into the triangles and then you assemble the triangles. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and you can sew along with me. You can, I'll try to edit out anything extraneous, but we will just get this part done together. Hope that works for you. All right, hang in there. Okay. So this requires the tube method, and I don't think I ever really explained it to you before. But you take the 2 fabrics, you sew an edge, you sew on both edges with right sides together, making a tube. So you can see there's a white and a beige. You sew a 1/4 seam here, and you sew a 1/4 seam here. Then you lay it down, and you use a triangle ruler, a 45. It called for a special ruler, but if you'll remember, we didn't buy one of those. We just used one of the current rulers I had. Now let me find it. These are all my flying geese rulers. Well, we could use that one, but that's not a very good one to use. Looks like I'll have to put this on pause and find the right ruler. Hold on. Found the ruler. It was in the pizza box with all the parts and pieces for this project, so I guess it was sort of where it belonged. Okay, so first things first, we got to cut some squares out of this. Well, first we make them into tubes, then we cut the squares. So let's go ahead and do that. And what's convenient is that it just is a standard 1/4 inch seam on both sides of these strips, and it just works quickly. Here we go. And we can increase the speed a little on this bunch. Now this part is pretty easy. And I'm going to go ahead and sew them all. So hang in there, or I'll cut forward until I finish all these seams. But I'm just going to go ahead and do the project with you. I love these fabrics. I think the white is a Vella Solid with almost a satiny finish. It's really super, super Dinah Whoppin'. So there's quite a few of these strips to do. But it sure is easier than cutting a whole bunch of little triangles and trying to get them to line up just right. I was looking at the Civil War sampler, and it doesn't even give you any cutting instructions, really. It just says to create this, this, and this. I'm thinking, well, there's about 5 ways to create that, that, and that. But I'm getting ready to start another project called Bel Canto. I believe that pattern is available, or was available, with Lynn at Soft Squares. I guess I've been looking at different high-end block of the month companies, and I'm just astounded at what people will pay for a monthly fee for 14 months at $49 a month. My goodness. But apparently people do it. Okay, chugging right along here. How was your holidays? Did you see family? Were there any family challenges? We did pretty good. We went away to a destination wedding. We got there safely in the snow and had a wonderful time. And it's just so nice to be with family, that especially ones that live far away, you know. So that was a wonderful blessing. Little guy wonkied up here. There you go. Okay. Another one bites the dust. I noticed that Leanne with Pastry Queen Farm Adventures Quilting was back on the channel today for a live this morning out of New York. A little early for me, but sure glad to see she's back in business. What a bright spot in the day if you can catch her lives. When you think about all the millions of people that she has touched in her life, what a gift. I was talking to my grandson a couple of days ago, and we were counting up all of the different train sets that he received for Christmas. I think all the grandmas and grandpas are all thinking the same. It must be. And aunties and uncles too. Today I'm looking forward to seeing the little guys. We have a couple of grandbabies that are young, very young, and same age. Essentially same age. What a joy is that? Just to hear them jabbering. They jabber to one another like they're talking, but you know, they're not. It's pretty fun. Just pretty fun at all. In this kind of sewing, you want to make sure you have a little bit of thread on your bobbin before you get started. I think yesterday I wound up 4 or 5 bobbins just in advance to be ready. To be honest, I only use beige thread unless I'm working on a black quilt. I know right there that probably made quite a few people perturbed at me, but what do you think about those cutie frames? Or the tabletop frame where you put your sewing machine on the frame and then you drive the frame around what do you think about that? Is that worth having? I think they run about $500 or $600, and my girlfriend wants to sell me one for $300. What do you think? Brand new in the box. Did you use them? If you bought them, did you use them? Because I really don't think I'd do a big quilt on them. but I sure could do these smaller ones, like, you know, Poo Cow behind me. And, well, any of those ones that I've been working on that are less than bed size probably work just fine. Okay, so we finished up one side completely. Now we're just going to go zooming right through and do the other side to complete the tube process, making a tube. And then from the tube is where we cut the triangles. Or let's say half square triangles, because they'll already be the two colors combined, and we're just going to cut out a wedge. When you unfold it, it turns into a half square triangle. I'll have to look down here and see what I'm doing because it was getting tangled. Can you hear me okay? Some of my fellow quilters who are starting are just so quiet. I have to turn the volume up to 50 to hear them. So I'm trying to speak clearly, you know, and avoid getting poked. And I got so crooked right there, I'm going to go back and do it. There we go. All right. Bobbin thread's empty. Let's get that fixed. Oh, baby. Excuse me. I called a friend a couple days ago and I sounded so horrible on the phone that she said, "Oh, I'm bringing you something right now and you're to eat 3 or 4 cloves of garlic 3 times a day, and I'm bringing to, they're fermented in honey." And I'm going, "Oh, well, thank you very much. Thank you, what a thoughtful thing." And I'm thinking to myself, huh, are you nuts? You know? But she brought them and I opened them up, and you know, in honey, pretty much anything tastes pretty good. So I've been eating these 3 or 4 fermented garlic cloves about 3 times a day. I don't know if it's helped, but certainly hasn't hurt. And I don't smell garlic in my pores yet. Okay, well, that's one remedy we can consider, huh? And don't you love these forceps that we got from Fat Quarter Shop last year? I just absolutely am nuts for it. Why didn't I think of these before? You know, I have these for work, but I just never thought to have them for sewing. So, A+, Kimberly, Fat Quarter Lady, fabulous. Alrighty then, let's continue right about there. Alrighty then. And next. Sorry, that's so loud. I've been watching people that they put up for, what do they put up for a design wall? Because I'd really like to have a design wall that's big enough to actually put my whole project up on. I don't want to buy a big, expensive thing. Couldn't you just get a couple of, couldn't you get a couple of flannel-backed vinyl tablecloths from Bi-Mart or Wear-Mart or some kind of mart where you could unfold them on the wall, staple them on the wall as far as that goes, or put those command hooks on if you need to, and then use the felt side to just stick your parts up against. Wouldn't that work just as good? I'm thinking about that. Now, right about now is when Andrea from Arkansas Gals would start breaking into song. So what show tune comes to mind? I'm not able to do that, by the way. I just thought we'd mention that. We can sure think about them, though. I threw that one over there and it went somewhere else. I'm going to get it quick. There it is. Those magnet pin holders are fabulous. I usually can just sort of toss it in the right direction and it grabs it. There's going to be a lot of triangles if we're cutting this whole thing up for triangles. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. see my dog marching around? Yeah, she's very attentive. Her name's Hannah Banana. Well, at least I named her that, Hannah Banana. She came to us from an older couple in near California. Just a few months ago, actually, last spring. Almost a year coming up. Best dog possible. Hey, that's it. Woohoo! Well, let's separate these strips. You know, the directions say to cut them into like 20-inch segments. And I was thinking, the first time I did some work, I just did the full, you know, length of, width of fabric. But I got to admit, these shorter strips are easier to deal with. Excuse me. Now, let's get down to brass tacks. We have all these strips. Yes, dear. Okay. Yes, dear. Okay. Okay. Want to get in the camera? Huh? Do you? Come here. Come here. Yeah. All right. Now, get you some attention. Now, you got to let me work, okay? Okay. So, we'll open up one of these strips and let's see what we have. No. Back it. Back. Back. It says to take my strips, make 10 tubes. Well, no. For the size we're doing, we need 15 tubes from half strips. Well, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Well, great. Okay, we got plenty. So we're going to take our first strip, cut 88 3.5-inch squares. Okay. I'm going to open this up and go back and see just exactly how they showed us to do that, because I seem to... No, it's pretty straightforward. You put the 3.5-inch measurement on the bottom stitching line. That's the chicken right there, the bottom stitching line. So the half measurements on this end and the full measurements on this end. So we're going to do the 3.5. You set that right there, and the tip of the ruler on the triangle comes in just this side of the stitching line on the upper side of the strip. So we're in good shape. Now, are there any selvages involved? No. I mean, not selvage. Well, yeah, selvages. So let's get her going here. You know, I'm going to need a new blade for this, aren't I? Yep, pretty clear. All right, I'll be with you in just a moment. These are very consistent, and even though it's an odd way of making them, wow. It's incredible when you get about, you know, like 40 or 50 of these that are all exactly the same, and you're putting together these intricate blocks, like this one. These are pretty intricate sequences, and on the previous ones there was you know, these, you know, as we go. So as they are more and more intricate, it's wonderful that they are the same size and they're not slightly skewed, and they go together like peaches and cream. It's really wonderful. So I know many of you have ways of making half square triangles that are just as accurate or more, but for me, this was a game changer. So I am going to make another one, another big quilt with the same strip tube methodology. We'll give it a try. I'll tell you about it in the future. I think it's called Bel Canto. It's another big medallion. It looks like it could be easily from one of these big internet-based stitchery and quilting stores that have cruises and retreats and huge footprint brick and mortar. Those kind of stores, you know, they can really put out some exclusive products, but I can't afford them. And most people can't. So let's make these things that look like what they're doing on our own budget. That's the forte that I'm hoping to present. Anyway, so let me get it going. If I could keep talking, my goodness, I keep talking along. I suppose you could try to cut more than one at a time, but I'm not interested in that at this time. Maybe I would be if I had more. Now my stitching is not accurate there. Let me redo that. No, it looks accurate there, but not here. Much better. Boy, that's pretty dangerous right there at my wrist. I think of a different way to hold that is not so dangerous looking. Well, I suppose you could flip the strip back and forth each time. Like that. Let's think of a way to be more efficient. I'm finding that if I cut them back to back, you know, like from here and then go there exactly, that where you cut it off in the seam allowance causes there to be where it doesn't come together clear at the end. So I think what I'm going to do is just sliver off a little there so that it has a good ending. since we have an extra strip. Have you gone and checked out Liz Warnke's new channel? She's doing really good too. I was on such a buying frenzy before Christmas that now that I'm watching these live sales, I'm just thinking, I guess I don't need that, and I don't need that. There were such wonderful bargains between Thanksgiving and Christmas. It'll be hard to top that and keep the fervor going. How's your stash? Did you get crazy in the fall also? I have some wonderful things that I'm planning. And I chose to sign up for the Fat Quarter Shop Puzzle Mystery Block of the Month, the BOM. I've never done that before, so I thought, let's do that. I know there's everybody and his uncle that does that, but I'm looking forward to it. How many of you are doing the puzzle mystery quilt with that quarter shop? Leave me a comment. Let me know what you're up to. Next. Another site that I really like watching is Pickin' Stitches with, I think her name is Kelly something. But if it isn't, sorry. But I do like Pickin' Stitches. I think she's a homeschooler. I always thought I would want to do that, but I ended up homeschooling my 8th grade twins. Oh, let's see, must have been 7th grade I homeschooled them. Man, that was a big job. You know, you can buy, in those days, you could buy the whole grade in a box from these Christian websites, and it was wonderful, wonderful materials. It worked out. They did real good. They did not get behind. They were both such strong readers, you know, because they did all of that. We had a list of classics that they had to read, and well, they didn't have to do it, but if they wanted to ride the four-wheeler, they needed to have equal time. So yes, it was all a carrot. But one of my daughters who just got married, she had the theme song for the Pride and Prejudice with Keira Knightley in her wedding. It was so pretty. As soon as the piano part started, I remember that. That's Pride and Prejudice. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it was that one. I think we had the British, the PBS serial, which was like 4 or 5 parts. And then, of course, we had the Keira Knightley one with Matthew McNaughton, I think his name is. And then the PBS TV series, which was, or maybe they call it a serial. That was one when, quite a few years ago, when Colin Firth was involved. And I can't even think of the name of the nice lady that was the lead part. It was really nice to see everybody at the family wedding. A lot of my daughter's classmates. It's nice when you get to see the kids that are growing up and are now adults, and they're so wonderful. Yes, the Lord has been good to us. He's blessed us repeatedly. Whether we deserved it or not, He really loves us. He loves you too. He cares and genuinely cares about each of us. Well, this is a lot of cutting, but the best part about it is that the end result is so consistent. And I'm known, like I said, for my wonkiness, and so this is really very nice. Is that long enough on this side to get another one? Nope. What are you making right now? Are you sewing along with me? Sometimes when I'm sewing, I put on, well, I just pull up all my subscriptions and run them, you know, and I get mostly all quilting stuff. Although I do watch those Highland Cow programs, and I watch a girl named the Clever Cowgirl. She works so hard. I like horses, but I wouldn't want to work that hard on horses. She must have a burning desire to really just care for those animals. Well, that would be okay. Yeah, that'd be okay. Good. Keep on rolling, rolling, rolling. Oh, here's a funny note. If you've seen me making that poncho that I made for my son for Christmas, and we wondered where that blanket came from that we cut up. Well, at Christmas time, I was showing my friend my quilting projects, And I showed her the poncho, you know, a still shot of that. And she says, oh, that's the blanket my son used to have. Oops. Her son and my son were buddies for years and years, but I mean, they've been living in different states and haven't been in connection much lately. So I wonder how long that quilt has been upstairs here in my house. But now it's a quilt. Now it's a quilt poncho. Maybe I'll have to make that boy a quilt, huh? Quite a bit of cutting left to do. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is jump ahead to ironing some of the squares, and let's lay out one of the blocks, okay? And I'll come back to cutting up the rest of these here in a minute or two. So my iron is hot. Let's see, how many of these blocks do we need so we can make at least one for you? Okay, we need some of the 6-inch ones, which I do have. And we need some ends for 4 half squares. Okay, so we'll make a few. And it says press 40 to fabric A and 48 to fabric K. No? Okay. You know, I haven't ever bought one of those little tiny, well, I did have one of those tiny irons, but it got so hot, and its trivet that it sat on wasn't good enough for it because it melted my cutting board. And I just, now that, you know, when you find a good cutting mat that you like, that was perturbing, so I got rid of that thing. I'd rather wrestle this big one than deal with something that's gonna, you know, maybe start a fire. It was so hot. This one has an automatic shut off on it, so that when I leave my sewing studio, I actually unplug everything so that we don't have a problem. All right, so we've got a few to work with. Let's see what we can do. See, we need to have, these are some of the previous ones. I think I showed you before. There's some 30 of these looking things. 2 tones green. And then, what do we call those? Are those flying somethings? Not geese. And then we have 24 of these items. Just a lovely basic, you know. And then let's see, we have a number of these other parts and pieces. Oh, here's my bigger pieces. Here they are. See, I've got them cut and marked. Alrighty then. This is going to be the fabric K, as in king, segment. Fabric K segment. Okay, so We want a half square triangle with white this way. Can you see these okay? Let me move up all this stuff so you can see what we're doing. Okay, this is pretty good, huh? So we're going to have a white and brown. You know, those are still not perfect. Wonder what happened to them. Maybe I ironed it wonky. Now that one's good. Okay, so we're gonna, let me tilt this down a little more. And so then we put a brown segment there. And then comes another half square triangle. And then 4 half squares across the bottom. No, let me take that back. It is one of these guys and 2. Nope, this way. So there is fabric K segment, and I'm to make 8 of those. And then the next block that we're going to do instead of this sequence is a brown one, and then 3 of these guys with the brown on top, and then 4 underneath. And 1 more here. And we're to make 8 of those. And then you combine those 2 segments together and you make 8 of those complete 12.5-inch square. So I'm gonna need to square up my triangles. For all my talk about having perfect triangles, apparently they're not exactly perfect. So if I remember correctly, they were all cut on the bias. Therefore, when you iron them, you have to be very careful not to skew them as you iron. I think that may have been it. Anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and get going on that and finish up the 8 12.5-inch squares. And you can see from the pattern where those are gonna be. 2 at the top, 2 at the sides, and 2 at the bottom. And then the next step after that is to actually combine the whole shebang. So we're making progress. All right, thank you. Thank you for watching. Now let's see, what episode are we on? This is episode 16. Park Plaza, block of the month, progress, update. Thank you so much for being with me here today. Please subscribe. I want to get past that number, 59. I've been sitting on for 2 months. No, for 2 weeks. And please watch my videos. Some of them are pretty good. I'm learning on the rest of them, though. So hang in there and have a lovely day. All right, bye-bye now.